What's up, YouTube? This is Carrie from Side Tripping with Carrie, and yeah, it's been a minute. It's been a couple of minutes actually since I've done a video, but gonna do it's gonna be a short one. We're here at St. Francis Catholic Cemetery in Phoenix, and the person we're going to visit, the final resting place, the person we're going to visit is the first coach of the Green Bay Packers. Green Bay Packers are a team in the NFL, one of the oldest franchises in the National Football League, and they are they've been in the city of Green Bay, in the city of their origin, and played longer than any other team in the NFL. So they've been around forever. So without further ado, let's go visit the final resting place of Willard Ryan. So Willard Ryan coached the Green Bay Packers in their inaugural season of 1919. And that's not without controversy. If you go to the Packers Wikipedia page, for instance, it lists the first coach as Curly Lambeau, and that name may be familiar to you if you're a football fan. Lambeau Field is where the Green Bay Packers play their home games, and it's named after Curly Lambeau. And the way football was, there's so many differences between the way football, as kind of we know it today, is played and coached than it was back in the early days of organized football. Back in 1919, head coaches weren't allowed to talk to the players during the games. They could talk to them like before the games, during halftime, and after the games, obviously. The team captain had most of the roles that we would associate with a head coach today. Calling plays, substituting players in and out, scheduling practices, things of that nature. And the team captain of the Packers back then was Curly Lambeau. Curly Lambeau at the time also, I think he was working at a meat packing plant, and he raised some money from his employer, and that's where that Packers name comes from. But he was also a high school football coach at like Green Bay East High School. The coach at Green Bay West High School was Willard Ryan, and I guess they were rivals, became friends, and he was asked to coach the Packers during that inaugural season. The team went 10-1. They won 10 games, lost 1 game. And they were only scored on twice. They were scored on by a team during the regular season 1 time, and then I guess that last game that they lost, they were scored on 6 points, and they lost the game 6-0. What's interesting about that is they lost to a team called the Beloit Fairies, which obviously isn't in existence anymore. And part of the reason that they lost, and it's funny, you could read the articles that talk about it, that team brought their own referee. And so you can imagine how that went. From what I understand, there were 3 touchdowns called back by this referee, 3 touchdowns scored by the Packers. So, that's kind of what they were up against. So in any event, Willard Ryan, he coached that 1 year, and then after that, Curly kind of took over. Curly Lambeau took over as a player coach, and they went on from there. Interestingly enough, there's another Green Bay Packers head coach that's interred here at St. Francis, and that's Dan Devine, who I'd forgotten all about it, but he coached Green Bay from 1971 to 1974. And I did a video on him and Frank Cush, as they were both coaches at Arizona State University. They were both head football coaches there. After Willard coached at Green Bay that one year. He more or less kind of retired from coaching football at the professional level and moved to Minnesota, where he became a school teacher and then a school administrator, and eventually he retired as a superintendent. He got married. He had 2 daughters and a son, and 2 of the daughters, as well as his wife, are interred here at St. Francis. He moved out here in 1961, he and his wife, and he was only out here 6 months before he passed away. So that's very unfortunate. But here is Mr. Ryan's final resting place, Coach Willard Ryan. And his wife, Helen, is interred next to him. And it's really interesting, the whole issue about who was the first coach of the Packers. On the website, on the Green Bay Packers website, they have like kind of a history section or whatever, and there have been some articles about Coach Ryan and the whole issue of how plays were called and and all that good stuff. But I don't know, it's really weird. I don't really believe he's actually credited in the official sense as the first coach, but if you read Willard's obituary, he is. And like I said, even in their own history, they do refer to him as the first coach, but I don't know if he's actually listed as their first coach, if that makes any sense to you. But he did in fact coach them. I'll put some pictures up of the team that you can see him. He's kind of standing off to the left, and Curly Lambeau's like right in the middle of the group of guys. And I guess it was an interesting time. One of the anecdotes I read that was that like at halftime, the teams would like stay on the field. They would go to opposite ends of the field, like in the end zones, and there weren't any stands or anything like that. So people would just stand around the field and watch it. And some of the fans would just like come in among the players and talk about plays and what the team should run. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Something that wouldn't happen today, not even in Pee Wee football level. But in any event, folks, that's going to do it. This is a short one. I promise you guys I'm going to do some more things with the channel. I've got a couple of ideas for some videos that I'm going to do here shortly. I promise. There won't be this big long gap again. But all right, well, thanks for watching. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up and hit that like button. If you're not a subscriber to the channel, please consider subscribing, and we will see you on the next one.